first time I remember playing piano was after I watched Davy Crockett. It was my favorite movie. It's kind of a western, and the beginning song was just like da 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 da, you know, Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier, or whatever it is. And I went over to the piano and I started sounding it out and played it. And my parents, I think, saw that and got me into some lessons and stuff. And so I started playing classical, but just loved it. Just did that for a while, and then I switched over to drums at some point. I think I was like maybe 10 years old, and I started taking drum lessons. And I used to go to this teacher who was like a really good drum teacher, but he was like old school. So he was like teaching me how to play like, I forget what it's called, but where you're holding the drumstick like sideways, and
yeah, jazz style.
Yeah, jazz style. So and he was like he was super intense about it, and I wouldn't practice. I would just show up and I'd be like, well, just play it for me, and he'd play it for me, and I would copy him basically, and he'd tell my dad, he's got talent, but he just doesn't practice. He never practices. And
when you were 10.
Yeah, when I was 10. And so I did that for a while, and I think probably the best opportunity I had when I was younger, which was kind of fundamental in my music career now, was that I auditioned to sing for the Cleveland Orchestra. I grew up in Cleveland. They have a children's choir, and 2 kids from every school in Northeast Ohio could go and audition for it. And I got in and did that for 4 years, and got to get up on stage. I would say that the Beach Boys early on, that was the first band that I ever heard that I just fell in love with. I was in the car with my mom driving. I heard "I Get Around," and it just moved something inside of me. And that week, my dad came. During dinner, after dinner, he came with this plastic bag that had a cassette tape in it, and I opened it up, and it was the Beach Boys. It was "I Get Around," and I put it in, and I just remember doing like cartwheels around the room, just singing whatever lyrics I knew. There's really only been 2 times where that's happened to me, where I don't know if it's a milestone or what you call it, but the first time was the Beach Boys when I heard that song, and the second time was when I was 13 and I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" for the first time. And it was just perfect for that age, going into, kind of your teenage years and whatever. But I don't know what it was, but it just resonated. And that was the year that I started playing guitar. Honestly, I played in so many different types of bands and just a lot of different bands in general. And like, the one thing that I realized after the last band I played in, which was like 5 years ago, more than that probably, before I started this band, was that it's really important to build bands around friendships. And that's hard to do, because sometimes your best friends may not be the right guys to play with you, and sometimes the right guys, the guys that are really talented, have bad personalities and you can't get along with them. And I think it's really important to find someone that's healthy, that's cool, that's chilled out, and can kind of roll with the punches, because the workload that you're in a family. You're kind of choosing your family, and you're going to be around them. If things go well, you're going to be around them almost every second of the day for years. And so it's I think it's really important to find people with good personalities and character. Focus on finding your identity first, because you don't want to sound like everybody else. You don't want to sound like anybody else. You want to find the stories that you want to tell lyrically, and your sound and everything, and separate yourself from the rest of the world. But then also on top of that, focus on your songwriting. That's the most important thing. You need to really think about, like, who are your favorite songwriters? Why are those songs good? What are the transitions like? What does it mean to write a verse? What does it mean to write a chorus? What's the function of a bridge?
What an awesome dude. Once again, that's Mark from Foster the People. You can check them out and all the other bands we play here on the show at younggunsnorthwest.com.